Hello everyone, kumusta kayo? This is Jet Pangan and I'm here to host a very special event today. And you might be wondering, why me? Well, this show is brought to you by Cutprint Productions. They handle the Cutprint Podcast Network. And I am very happy to say and share with you, I am their very first podcaster. Yes, hindi ko nga rin alam yun, but I was gently reminded by our producer, Miss Patsy Ferrer, na ako ang isa or ako ang unang-unang podcast host nila. And I'm, of course, very honored to be here for you for this special event. Ano nga ba tong event na to? Well, uh, ever since my first podcast, Cutprint Podcast has grown into so many other podcasts. We have the podcast of George Boone, Inka Magnaye, and so on and so forth. Dumami na talaga ang kanilang mga shows online, ang kanilang mga audio podcasts. And now we're going to be welcoming another member of the Cutprint Podcast family. And I'm sure with the poster, alam nyo na kung sino ang pinag-uusapan natin. And he's none other than Mr. MJ Bracadio. Now, for those of you Phil Americans, you probably know the name because this man certainly has achieved a lot in his 7 years in the United States. 7 years is such a short time to achieve a lot of things, but this man has. And ano ba yung na-achieve niya? Well, he's become one of the more known celebrity columnists, writers, and talagang nakilala siya, no? In this little world we know as Hollywood. And of course, being Filipino, that's something to be very proud of. But before we continue, before we go on and talk to our new, say, talent, di ba? Or our new podcaster, I think we're going to have a little audio-visual presentation. Pero bago yan, gusto ko rin palang ipaalam sa inyo that MJ also made popular this list called the 75 most influential Filipino Americans. Yan. So yung mga kababayan natin sa States, I'm sure inaabangan lagi yung listahan na yan coming from MJ. So yes, we have a celebrity with us right now. So before we move on any further, before we start asking questions to our friend MJ, let's see what he has done in his career. Maestro. Yun naman, 'di ba? Napakagandang AVP noon. Pati ako nadala eh, 'di ba? Parang gusto kong ulitin eh. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, wag na nating patagalin. I am very pleased to welcome to the Cutprint Podcast family, Mr. MJ Racadio. MJ.
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Jen. Thank you for having me. This is amazing. And yes, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Yes, we are live right now there in Manila, and I'm here in California. So it's about around 9 p.m. over here in California. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be part of Cutprint Podcast Network.
Well, thank you for staying up for us. Hindi ko nabanggit yun sa ating mga viewers ngayon that you are a hemisphere away, kumbaga. And we are dealing with this time zone difference. So thank you very much, MJ, for staying up for this, especially last night, no? When we did our little dry run. And it was 1 in the morning. And that's when I really got to know you. And I'm very excited that you're doing this podcast for cut print. How do you feel right now that you're adding another title to your belt, kumbaga?
You know what? It's really a great it's such a amazing experience, Jet, because
Yeah.
after 7 years, I'm finally home here in the Philippines. And I found a home through Cutprint Podcast Network because I've been doing this for 7 years. I've been attending so many events, countless events. Um, yes, absolutely. And I'm just very thrilled now that I'm finally home in the Philippines.
You're doing a job that only most people can dream of, really, including myself. I mean, a lot of people know back home or here in the Philippines rather that I'm a musician by profession. I'm also an actor. Pero yung trabaho mo must be very exciting because you really get to hobnob and to talk to the big names in Hollywood. How does it feel? Does it ever get jaded for you, or is it always something exciting to look forward to each day?
Yes, it does because sometimes it still blow me away. Like for example, during the Golden Globes, and when I applied for my credentials and I received the approval, like maybe several days later, I was like, wow, to be able to be part of that. And now I am getting ready to really cover the Oscars and
Wow.
giving the behind the scenes of what's really going on to all the nominees. So I really had a great chance to do virtual conversation with this big people in the industry.
So maybe before the pandemic, you must have talked to these celebrities, to these big wigs in person, face to face, no? So I'm gonna throw you names, and I'm sure nakausap mo na to. Let's say si Tom Cruise. Yeah.
Well, not yet.
Coming soon
Usually,
pa yon.
yeah,
Okay.
it depends on what's really going on out there. For example, for we just finished the Golden Globe, so I was able to um, speak to some of directors, most of the directors at the Golden Globes. Then also, I've spoken to King of Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken, Aaron Sorkin. He's an Academy Award winner, very down to earth. I don't know if you guys heard of the Trial of the Chicago Seven, and it's nominated for Best Picture right now as well.
Yes, nandun si ano, 'di ba? Si Sacha Baron Cohen, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's in the movie also.
Yes, he was actually good at that. And the good thing about him, he has a different character compared to Borat. And to that, it's
Yeah,
just an
yeah,
amazing contrast. And if you guys never seen the movie yet, I encourage them to see it because you could
yeah.
really see the different character of this particular actor.
I'm actually amazed at Sacha Baron Cohen because I've seen his series, his mini series called The Spy, and it's a very serious role. And you can see that this guy is really an actor. No, he's not just a comedian. Artista talaga siya. And I'm amazed that you get to interview or talk to these people with names like Aaron Sorkin. Nakakaaliw talaga. And it must be such a thrill also for you to come up with this list called the 75 most influential film Americans. How did you come up with that idea, MJ?
Um, by the way, right now I'm here in my bedroom, and the reason why the bedroom is really sort of kind of important because I started my podcasting here in the bedroom. So it all started from the bedroom, and then I should say I've been inviting so many guests in my podcast, especially Filipino Americans that really made it in the mainstream in Hollywood. So to cut the long story short, I came up with it because I want to create something that is really creating a movement that everyone can appreciate, that everyone can come together, and as a Filipino Americans, all
Mm-hmm.
these Filipinos that made it big, and I want to really recognize for their hard work, and they're really representing our culture in a very big way. So I don't see any organization doing that.
And
So
when you talk about hard work, of course, you know firsthand because, like we talked about earlier, 7 years, just a mere 7 years in the United States, and you have achieved so much. In fact, diba, I mentioned to you that you have this quote that I really love. No, when I first saw it on my email, sabi ko, si MJ ba nagsulat ito? Because napakaganda eh. The phrase goes something like, desire is more powerful than wishing. Ang lakas nun, ah. That really resonated with me, and I guess the sentence speaks for itself, especially maybe for our Phil-American brothers and sisters there who really have to really want what they want out of life in another country, and achieve it, right?
absolutely, yeah, I've been in this country for 25 years in California. So when I came here, I just started working really, really hard, and I wanted more. I wasn't really satisfied of what's really going on to me, so I created this movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I created Blog Talk with Angie Ricardio. So now I want to really highlight the importance, the achievement of Filipino Americans. That's why I created that movement. So the list came on because I started April of 2014, and now the list came on during the Filipino American History Month. So that is
Right.
really perfect thing to really recognize the hard work and the perseverance of our Filipino Americans here in the US, basically.
All right. Well, cheers to that. Now, alam nyo, kilala ako dito sa Cutprint as a guy who will never stop talking, especially pag masarap ang kausap katulad ni MJ. But I am not alone here, guys. I have a co-host with me. And she's not just any other person that's been tasked to share the screen with me, kumbaga. She is the overlord of Cutprint Podcast Network. She is the all-seeing mother of Cutprint. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our producer and good friend. Please welcome her on the panel, Miss Patsy Ferrer. Pasok!
I love the overlord part. That sets a very good statement. Like, oh, people are gonna get scared of me now.
Alam mo, nakalagay dito, oh, nag-hi ka na ba kay MJ? Nagkita na
Hi
ba kayo?
MJ, hi MJ, hi MJ.
Yes,
Ayan. So, Patsy, nakalagay dito sa aking notes. I have to ask you a question. Ano pa ba ang hindi ko na itatanong kay Patsy Ferrer? You know, I guess what I would like to ask is, what brought you
Mm,
into wanting or desiring, as MJ would say, into
mm.
desiring MJ into the Cutprint podcast family?
I saw the potential of MJ has this goal of making sure that we see Filipino talents out there, not just the ones who are popular right now, but the ones who are really working hard in Hollywood and trying their best to make it. So, same with the mission and vision of Cutprint Productions and Cutprint Podcast Network is really to help the creators
Mm-hmm.
and the talents to have a home where they can be creative. MJ is this platform where he is giving a spotlight to all those Filipino American talents um, who needs visibility. And even though some of them are popular, he still goes on and tries to keep on promoting them. And that is one thing that really made me think. I think we should. This is the show that we need right now in the Philippines. We've, as you all know, like we're done with negative news. We need something that is uplifting, that is positive, and cheering on for our own Filipino talent is one thing I think that could uplift our spirit. And also MJ, like what you've said, MJ has been doing this for 7 years and he's gone far now. He's now with the Los Angeles Press, and it's not an easy feat
Yeah, yeah.
to do, right? for a Filipino.
Right. So actually, may tanong ako kay MJ naman now, no? Now that you've
Yes.
mentioned it, Patsy,
Mm-hmm.
MJ is now very well versed in terms of knowing who are the successful Phil Americans, no, including himself, of course, di ba?
Correct.
Who's made the cut, who's made the grade, who's really leveled up in their lives over there. So, syempre, kunyari, let's assume na we are back to normal, no? Or walang pandemic, tapos na yung pandemya, and then of course, meron tayong mga brothers and sisters dito sa Pilipinas who would
Mm.
like to make a name for themselves abroad. Diba?
Correct.
Anong maipapayo mo, MJ? What advice can you give to these people who want to, realize their dreams the same way you did?
That's a very awesome question, Jet. And they should not be afraid at all if they have this big dream. Because, I grew up in the province, actually in Pangasinan.
Mm,
And yes,
seafood
and I had
country.
that,
Sarap na
yes,
seafood
I
dyan.
had that big dream. So if you have that big dream, you
Right.
should not be afraid. You should know who you are. You should be embracing where you came from. And you should not be afraid to jump. According to Steve Harvey, if you have to jump, you have to really jump so you will know if your parachute will open. So
Ganda nung quote na yun, ah. Oh,
it
Yeah.
ganda ng
is
mga quotable quotes mo, MJ. Isusulat ko lahat yan.
it is important because
Yes.
many of us they're being hindered by, let's say, oh, I have no money,
Mm-hmm.
um, I have no one will produce me. You have to be creative out there.
Mm-hmm.
um, Especially now technology is there, so you must really
Right.
embrace and use the technology in your favor. So I
Correct.
encourage everyone to really just go on with their dreams and do not be afraid.
Do not be afraid, but of course, 'di ba? Hard work din, no? That goes
Yes.
without saying. Huwag kayong panghihinaan ng loob if at first you don't succeed. Kumbaga, 'di ba? You can always try again. Kumbaga nga, yung sinabi mong quotable quote na 'yon, na you'll never know until you try, no? You'll never know until you jump. So, wag naman literal na tatalon kayo sa tulay, no? Wag naman gano'n. No? Pero pero
We
alam
hope
niyo
not.
alam niyo na yung ibig sabihin ni MJ. Now, one thing, Patsy, that I notice about MJ here that I find very interesting is, he's already made a name
Mm-hmm.
in Hollywood, di
Yes.
ba, in the Filipino-American community, and yet here he is. He's so unassuming. I
Yeah.
was expecting someone who's very loud, who's very, animated. And then you see MJ who's actually almost kind of shy, no? Um, that's a very interesting contrast to your work and to your persona, no, MJ?
Yes, as a matter of fact, really before I was really an introvert, and
Mhm.
there is something really like that desire growing up when I was in the Philippines that I can't really put my finger into it, and that I really want to do something big, really, really representing our culture, and
Mhm.
to you will be proud, like you will be proud of it if you know it. So that's really been my mission. It's no longer about me. It's about the community coming together, especially now this pandemic. We just
Right.
have to together um, and lift each other up instead of looking down on someone else's lives.
Correct, correct. So, wow. Ang dami ng mga inspirational thoughts na shinare sa atin ni MJ. And I really think you'll make a good podcast out of these thoughts. Especially now, gaya nga na sinabi ni Patsy, di ba? We need a lot of encouragement, upliftment in these times. So, nawala na si Patsy. Parang iniwan na tayo. Siguro baka nagkakape. Oo. Anyway, are you there, Pats?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. So,
Yes.
is there anything else you would like to add, Patsy, before we go to our friends who have a few questions to our latest addition to the Cutprint podcast family, the MJ?
Yeah, I just like to say that of course in Cutprint right now we're doing this series called Podcast You, where we it's the first incubator program in podcasting here in the Philippines, where we have this process of parang what do you call this, audition for podcasters who would like to become
Mm-hmm.
part of the network. And of course, just a quick shout out to our podcasters who are also here in. I keep looking to my left because this is where the the other laptop is. But the other podcasts are here. So of course, first of all, so it's Jet. Listen to Jet's talk show, sort of. We
Oh,
have
thank you. Yes. Please
have
do support our little
yes,
my little corner. Yes.
yes. He's and again he's the first podcast who said yes to me, to someone who's just starting out in this. And also of course the Pod Mother, my show, Inca's Sleeping Pill with Inca. There's the Roundtable podcast, Pop Emergency, Master Class with George Boone. So maybe a lot of you guys know George Boone from the industry. Jack Talks Tech covered operations, earpods, Chubby Chica sa San Isidro, Kumari Talks, and our new show, ang Attorney Ko. And there are going to be a lot of news shows coming out from the network.
Dami naman. Dami
Diba?
naman, Pats. Dagdagan mo pa.
Sige, dagdagan
Parang hindi ka
natin.
busy, ano?
Hindi. Kulang pa.
Oo.
Gusto ko pa nang gagawin.
And of course, this won't be made possible by your sponsors, which you would like to thank personally, right?
Yes, of course. We have a lot of sponsors along the way, but for
Mhm.
this press con, we would like to thank our media partners, our friends from the media who are here in the call today, and also Bondara Aesthetics Elite for a little gift that they'll be giving us later. So
Wow,
for
sali ba ako dyan?
of course, of course, of course.
Yes, I love free stuff. And also, kaya, since nabanggit mo yung mga sponsors, my personal thanks and also to World Balance and to HG
Oh yes,
Studio
World
for supporting
Balance.
our YouTube channel, Jet's
Mm-hmm.
Talk Show, sort of. Kasi hindi lang naman siya podcast on Spotify. Meron din tayo sa YouTube. So, kung wala kayong magawa, pakinggan nyo lahat ng mga podcasts and especially MJ Racadio's coming podcasts. Ano na ba ang official title nung kay MJ?
It's the same. It's Blog Talk with MJ.
Okay, Blog Talk.
Market.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Ayun. So that's gonna be available in all platforms. And of course, the MJ will be shooting it straight over there from California, interviewing interesting guests. And hopefully, just like many of Patsy's other podcasts under Cutprint, it will also inspire and give our listeners, diba, the encouragement to go on, especially in these times. Okay. So if our friends from the media, if they're ready, then maybe we can start. Ito nakakatuwa, ano, MJ, sinasabi ko kay Patsy, parang now the tables are turned. Ikaw kasi, di ba, in your line of work, you're the one throwing the questions to these big names. And now the tables are turned. Ikaw naman ngayon ang tatanungin. So, are you
This
ready,
is
sir?
this is really interesting, Jet, because for the 7 years that I'm doing podcasting and interviewing celebrities on the
Mhm.
red carpet, now I'm now in the hot seat.
Yes,
So
you are. Yes, you are. So I hope it's cold there. Your aircon is on, or sana malamig ang panahon dyan, because I'm gonna start asking you the juicy stuff. All right. From Jude Cartalaba, and I know this person. Hi, Jude. How are you? He's a veteran publicist and journalist of ABS-CBN. This guy's been around for a long time. So, ito ang
Mhm.
kanyang katanungan, ano? Of the many guests you have interviewed in the past, what have you observed to be the most difficult questions they tripped or hesitated in answering? Kung pwede raw makapag-list ka ng 3 examples.
all right. Well, put me on the spot. It's kind of the same thing. when I ask a celebrity like impromptu questions, like
Mhm.
what are the three things about them? Those are the things that really came up to my head. Um, just three things about them because sometimes they don't know what to say because I gave them like just surprise. It's like a fun question, three things about them, and they're having a hard time answering it. So
Like this question being asked to you right now. List at
exactly.
least three. So I guess when it comes to personal stuff, no, yung talagang ano that can really catch anyone off guard, Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Especially their hobbies. Those are the things. Sometimes I caught them off guard.
mhm,
Um, and then also, how did they prepare for their character? And sometimes it's hard to answer those questions. Um, there is no really science about it.
mhm.
So those are the things that, they're having a hard time answering it. They have to
All
really
right.
think before they answer.
I can imagine because being an artist myself, I've been asked so many questions, and they're really questions that talagang nagahang yung ano mo yung mainframe mo parang
Exactly.
I guess it's part of being human, right? Okay,
Yes.
Jude has a few more questions here, MJ. Uh, I guess it's along the lines then of the first question. What is your most challenging interview ever, if you can remember, off the top of your head? Ano yung pinaka nahirapan ka or you found it a little tricky?
A little tricky. Oh boy. See, the question is really tricky. So that now I'm answering that. Usually, nothing really tricky about the question. Usually, we let them know way ahead of time,
Mhm.
unless you give them the question.
No, I guess what
Okay.
Jude is asking is maybe in the course of the interview already. It may not be a trick question. No, pardon me. I might have used the wrong word, but maybe what he's asking is in the course of an interview, was there ever a moment or was there ever a guest, for that matter, that you found to be challenging to talk to or to get thoughts out of?
When we talk about, I should say, probably they get emotional when I mention something personal,
Mhm.
too personal,
Right.
and they get a pause a bit, and then they have to think, and they get emotional. Especially that particular subject is really sort of kind of sensitive to them. So those are the moments.
Right. Okay. So I hope that answers the question, Jude. Eto, may isa pa
Thank
siyang
you.
tanong. How do you prepare for a particular guest? How do you prepare for a particular guest on your podcast? Iba-iba tayo ng pag-prepare. Ako, alam ko, iba yung sa akin. No? I have to drink a
Yeah.
few rounds of beer. No, just kidding. But in your case, MJ, how do you prep up?
Well, of course, if I know my schedule way ahead of time, I have
Mhm.
to get some good rest, drink plenty of water, and of course, you have to do a bit of a research with your topic because otherwise, it will be super hard for me to really connect with my audience or to my guests if I don't know about that guest of mine or that celebrity.
So you have no problems interviewing someone you've never met before? Or kailangan kilala mo siya kahit papano?
Usually we have to connect a little bit. Let's say maybe a pre-conversation before the pre-recorded interview to
Right.
get them comfortable, build the rapport. Like, how you doing? What was your hobbies? And have you been to the Philippines? Kind of like that. What's your favorite food? What
Right,
makes
right.
them really, comfortable? So I ask those questions. So that way they get comfortable.
O yan, so sa lahat ng mga upstarting podcasters, you're already hearing some tips from MJ. And I think it's a very simple tip and yet very effective. Because oo nga naman, no? You really have to know something about the person that you are going to talk to and share with the public, di ba? So it makes for a very interesting and even funny conversation pag medyo yung guest mo is already warming into you, kumbaga, di ba? Thank you for that, MJ. Last question ni Jude. Speaking of comfortable, what are your most comfortable topics to open up a conversation with your guests? Siguro icebreaker questions, kumbaga.
Usually, like, especially with my guests, if I already knew who they are, let's say, oh, I heard that you went to, you're having your anniversary with your other half. Like, kind of, they're very
Mhm.
happy that I, they're smiling because I kind of know what's really going on to their lives. So it kind of adds up a little bit more, like, personalize it.
Mhm.
And yeah, that kind of opened up the conversation and they get comfortable.
Right. So, Jude, I hope MJ here answered many of your questions. Siguro ang hirap din mag-interview talaga ng mga Hollywood celebrities, no? Because, you know, I've never really seen a production happening. I'm just an end user, kumbaga eh. I just see the movies, di ba? I just see the output. Pero yung the way they work must be really backbreaking eh. Because they work for months, even years to finish a project. So these people are tired, perhaps, no? They're really recovering from the day's work, kumbaga, and then you're gonna interview them. So that poses a certain challenge, no, MJ.
Yes, I mean, just to give their time like 3 minutes or 5 minutes of their time, that's already an amazing experience.
Right. They're able to stop for a while, pause, and just share their time with you. All right. So,
Absolutely.
thank you very much for those questions, Jude. Stay safe. All right. Our next friend who threw us some questions is Kate Adahar of randomrepublica.com. Hi, Kate. For Sir MJ, what sparked your interest in performing and doing interviews? Was this a childhood dream?
That's an amazing question, Kate. Yes, it is. Because I remember growing up, I was like holding a flashlight
A
and I want to
flashlight. Okay.
yes, I want to interview someone just to kind of like, oh, how are you today? And I've been really fascinated with Hollywood anyway, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that I pursued this while I'm here in the US. Um, it's just, it arrived in a later date. So I'm like a late bloomer in terms of what I really want to do for the
They
rest of my
say in life, there's no such thing as being too late for anything, diba? You're never too old
exact.
or too young to start something.
I don't know. I just want to connect someone that people admired and to really get to know them a little bit, um, who they are as a person, strip
Right.
away their achievements or whatever. It's really good to really, because they're like people, regular people like us. After that big event, shrug it off and just move on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So
just another interview.
I'd like to
Yes.
follow up this question with my own question. Since you mentioned that, MJ, can you name a celebrity now, a Hollywood persona or star that you have uh, had a few minutes of chatting na realize mo, ay tao rin pala to. Oh, he or she is very down to earth pala. Have you?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. This one, she is very famous during probably mid 90s. She is really a triple threat in Hollywood.
Mhm.
If you guys know Tia Carrera,
Of course,
um,
crush ko yun.
yes,
Hanggang
I'm
ngayon.
a huge, I'm a huge fan. And then when I met her 5 years ago, I was like, wow. I
Mhm.
was really, really, really starstruck, and I just want to control myself.
Beautiful
And
woman, no? Uh,
yes,
very
beautiful inside out.
classy. Yeah. Oh.
Yes, at that time she was helping the Smile Train, so she is really a philanthropist herself.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I admire celebrities like that. Not just being famous, they're using their influence to really to uh, to have a change, to social responsibility.
Alright. Pag nakausap mo si Tia Carrera, sabi mo hi from me. Nox! Anyway.
Definitely. Well, before anything else, I would like to really acknowledge my publicist. She's currently watching Miss Pilar Mateo or Miss P, and then
Oh,
also
okay. Okay.
yes, I would like to acknowledge
Hello.
Miki Sachiko. She's a good friend, and she's currently watching, and my Australian correspondent DJ Pearl from Down Under. So from Australia, they're currently watching right now.
Amazing. And hi to all you folks also. I hope you're all staying safe wherever you are right now. Thank you, Kate Adahar, and thank you to your friends that you mentioned, MJ. Now let's move on to our next panelist with her question from Jacqueline Ortega. For MJ, who do you look up to in the industry?
I should say I look up to Ryan Seacrest, Mario Lopez, those because I don't see any Filipinos when I started doing that, and I felt like I want to be that one to really represent our culture. So, yep, Ryan Seacrest or Mario Lopez. Yeah,
What qualities do you find in these guys that you admire?
they just hard worker, very down to earth people, and they that's it. They're a hard worker and down to earth.
All right, there you go. Jacqueline, thank you for your question. Now let's move on to Stars Photog, Alan Sangkon for MJ and Patsy. Ayan, Patsy, kasali ka dito. Do you have memorable interviews with the celebrities na hindi nyo malilimutan and why? Let's start with Patsy naman.
Interview. Um. Oh, aside from Jet Pangan, well,
Ka naman, yun naman sinasabi ko eh.
In Hollywood, I had an encounter in Cannes Film Festival when we were there for Nakao. And this is a very famous story of with Jessica Chastain, and I'm really embarrassed to say this, but we were just about to leave the Palais, which is the place where it's the biggest building in Cannes where they do the screening,
Mhm.
and they just did their family photo shoot, which what they call for all the people who joined the Cannes that year. So when I was asked by I think I was asked by Rappler at that time, oh, when you get to Cannes, who do you want to meet? I said Jessica Chastain, and it manifested. I did met her,
Oh,
and
you met her. Crush ko din yun.
she's an amazing actress. So I met her.
Oh.
I was in heaven because Pedro Almodovar was there, which is one of my favorite directors. Tapos ako parang, okay, Pedro is here and Jessica's here. My mind is about to be blown. And then I saw Jessica walking down kasi sinusundo sila ng kotse eh. They don't
She
walk
must
down.
have been gorgeous, huh? Jessica Chastain.
Amazing. She's
Oh.
amazing. She's super kind. So I called her over. I said, Jessica, Jessica. And then she said, wait, wait. I was super eager to meet her. Kasi baka sunduin na siya ng kotse going to wherever they're gonna go. Kasi ganun yan eh. When
Right,
they
right.
leave they just go into the car. And we had a photo together and everybody in where I was, syempre, Filipino, alam mo na, pag maraming tao, you go there and make usisa, di
Ah,
ba?
join. Oh.
Oo. So, yeah, we had a photo together and she's super nice. But for local, I would say my dream interview would be Ate V. I met her in Urian when we won for Nakao. She
Mm-hmm.
was given the Lifetime Achievement Award, but we just had a small chat. Um, Interviewing Ate V would be a full circle for me because she's my mom's favorite, and what made me watch more Filipino films is because of Ate V. So being a producer where I am today is a part of that is because of Ate V. So that would
Yeah.
it.
So that's your dream interview, kumbaga, no?
Yes,
Oh.
yes. I would ask her a lot of things about how they do films before, and I think it's going to be a blast.
So na-meet mo na si Jessica Chastain. So sino pang dream mo na makilala or ma-interview in the international scene?
In the international scene, I would say I would love to meet. pro- Um, I would say either Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese.
I have their
Oh,
numbers. Gusto mo? Text ko ngayon.
okay. Sige. Promise.
I wish. I wish. Thank you, Patsy. Thank
Yeah,
you. And
thank
now
you. Thank
yeah,
you.
I'd like to throw the same question now to MJ. Sa dami na na-interview mo, sa dami na ng mga celebrities, international and perhaps even local, no? Meron bang meron bang stand out a memorable interview that you really cannot forget?
Of course. My dream interview is Steve Harvey, and
Mm-hmm.
I really want to interview him. So I worked very, very hard to get that,
Right.
and I end up to be one of the official press for Miss Universe. So I end up interviewing him in Bangkok, Thailand. That was like 2018, and I even woke up super early, like 4 a.m., to really attend the press junket.
Right.
And I had a jet lag, so I was at the event like 1 hour prior to the check-in, and I thought I was at the wrong place. So
Oh boy.
yes, that excited. So, but I finally interviewed him, and he even arrived from the airport. He didn't even shave at all. He looks like my long lost uncle. Very down to earth. Um, he's really friendly to all the media, so that's really amazing. That was very unforgettable because I've been watching his videos. Like, you need to really jump in order your parachute to open. So the
Right.
kind of type of
Mm-hmm.
that's my dream. Other than my other dreams is to interview people that has won Oscars, Grammy, Tony, and and Golden Globe. And my ultimate dream was Steve Harvey. So I've done it,
You've done it?
and my other one that it's up and coming is my dream to interview is Leia Salonga, actually.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm sure if you dream it bad enough, you will get to interview Leia. Okay. Which I have actually in
Yes.
my podcast. There's an episode where I interviewed Leia, and it was a very easygoing interview because we worked
Yeah.
together already. And she's really very friendly, and she can give a lot of good advice. No.
It was
All right.
amazing. One of my favorite interviews of Jet.
Diba? Hindi mo
So
alam, gamer pala si Leia. Mahilig siya sa
yeah,
games.
I
Oh.
was like talking about offline. We're talking about games. She's amazing.
Okay, thank you for that, Alan Sangkon. Now we're going to move on to Rodel Fernando. For MJ, which of the movie icons in the Philippines would you like to have a one-on-one interview and why? Movie icons, ah.
Okay.
Rodel
Um,
Fernando of Showbiz Republica and Abante Tonight and Philippine Movie Press Club. Ayun.
wow. Thank you for that wonderful question, Riddell. I would like to have a one-on-one with Nora Honor because she is really true a legendary in our country in the Philippines, and she brought so many honors in the country. And so I want to really interview her as a Nora Honor as a person, not the superstar. And I want to really inspire others by asking her struggles and triumphs and how did she make it in the industry. So Nora
You know,
Honor for me.
si Miss Nora Honor, you will be surprised. But back in the 90s, I had the chance to work with her. Not sing with her, but produce a song for her for a
Mhm.
movie, no? And syempre, kabadong-kabado ako. Siguro ganun din nararamdaman mo when you're about to meet a big Hollywood celebrity, MJ, no? But I was so nervous to meet Nora Honor because she is such an icon, right? Pero nung dumating siya sa studio, she was this little lady. She was really small, no? And the way she talked was, she was so humble. Walang kayabang-yabang sa katawan, walang, and
Wow.
she called everyone kuya.
Wow.
Pati ako kinukuya niya, no? Kuya, ready na ba tayo? You know, she was just very endearing, and I think that's what makes her a star because she's naturally ano ba 'yun, you're naturally drawn to her. So,
Mm-mm.
that's a good good call yan, MJ, and I hope
Yeah,
you
although I've met her,
Mhm.
I just want to mention this because I do from time to time I do reporting for Eagle News International. I've interviewed her. It's just a short time during the Philippine, I should say, the 100 years of Philippine cinema.
Right.
So that was amazing.
Amazing,
Thank-
amazing. All right. Thank you for that question, Rodel Fernando. Oh, si Jacqueline has another question. Jacqueline Ortega of Jamie Ortega, Soundcheck Manila. Okay, for
Oh,
MJ.
hi. She's a good friend. Yes.
Oh, great, great. I'll say hello.
Hi, Jamie. We've been actually because I was living in Manila for a year before pandemic. We've been covering so many international celebrities there.
Mhm.
So it's really awkward that I'm here in the hot seat. Usually, I'm the one who covers the event. So
Oo. Maiba naman, 'di ba? Oo.
yes.
All right. So ang question ni Jacqueline Ortega is, can you name three of your favorite interviewees and maybe a few anecdotes from those interviews? If you can just recall it, no? Name of your three most favorite interviewees and a few takeaways from those interviews.
All right. Wow, she put me on the spot.
Yes, she did.
Well, of course, my number one is Steve Harvey. You gotta really
Mhm.
you have to really do it. Like, even though there's no script in whatever you do, just do it with your passion. Um, that was his interview. And then
Mhm.
my second one will be Miss America 2001. She's happened to be a Filipino American. Um, she is really she embodied the women empowerment because she created the character education in America. And the third one will be Aaron Sorkin, Academy Award winner, recently joined the virtual conversation of the trial of the Chicago Seven. He said that um, you cannot fake being a smart in a movie and funny. And I believe that's pretty amazing. If you're really that character, you can't really fake it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, ano kaya ibig sabihin niya nun? You know, when he says you cannot fake it, that means you really take the character to heart, no?
Mm.
Yes, you
You
have to
cannot
really.
pretend. You cannot
Yes,
pretend to be the person. You have to be that person. Okay, okay.
Correct. Yeah.
absolutely.
I get it. All right. So thank you for that again, Jacqueline Ortega, Jamie Ortega of Soundcheck Manila. All right. See, Miss Mildred Bakud. All right. We have our final 15 minutes. So tamang-tama to. She has three questions. So I'm going to fire it all away. So from Miss Mildred Bakud, before podcasting, MJ, you were a singer also. What happened to your singing career?
Oh my gosh.
Singer ka pala.
Well,
Hindi ko alam yun, ha? All around ka
she,
talaga. Oh.
she really dig in. But anyway, well, I started as a singer, as an independent recording artist, and I'm into pop music. And actually, as a matter of fact, I released my first international single, "Burning Memory." That was like 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 2008, it made it to mainstream Club America with Celine Dion, Britney
Wow.
Spears, and yeah, it's under Mario Riccardio, so you can still look it up. And that was an amazing experience because it's hard to really get into the music industry in America.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very grateful to my promoter at that time to be able to actually they found me on MySpace. That was
Right.
2000
Mm-hmm.
and
MySpace. Wow. Throwback kung throwback, ano? MySpace.
exactly. And
Oh.
actually, my EP album is still available
Hmm.
via SoundClick and Spotify. They just type in Mario Ricario. And actually, since she brought it up, I am working on my new single right now. Yes.
Oh, there you go. So, ang tanong niya, what happened to your singing career? Ang sagot po dyan, it's still ongoing.
Still ongoing.
He's recording a new song. All right. So, ito pa, isang tanong ni Mildred, no? You covered the Miss Universe a few times. What's the best part of interviewing beauty queens? Do you
Oh,
have a personal favorite?
I don't know. Every time I interviewing them, I was drowning because these are like representing beautiful women from around the globe,
Mhm.
and not just supporting women empowerment. It also it kind of it also represents our culture. You know, I'm representing America and in the Philippines to really get to know by interviewing these candidates of Miss Universe. I get to know every culture, and without traveling to their countries, I will be able to like transport myself by that interview. So by those answers, it kind of resonates of what's really going on to their culture and the way they answer their question, their manners, and all of that. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you, Miss Mildred, for your questions. Now we're going to move on to Timmy Basil. MJ, can you talk more about you being included in the 75 most influential Filipinos in America? Who conducted the survey?
All right. The survey, basically, I do a lot of research, and then I also ask. I'm not gonna name any names because everything is confidential. So
Okay.
usually I ask, yeah, I ask people like my friends in the industry, who do you think this person would be worthy of this part of the 75 most influential Filipino Americans? So I can say that they should be very active in the community. They're very visible to be included. It's not just being famous, also their purpose of what they're doing in the community, whatever outreach programs they're doing. Um, let's say, for example, my number one and number two was the Nepalese couple, the
Mm-hmm.
power couple of Hollywood, because they're connected with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. They're also both executive producers of the Golden Globe Awards. Because the reason why they were in number one and number two, because they're also helping, they're shelling out millions and millions of dollars within their organizations to help the less fortunate individuals in terms of education. So
So, in other
that's why,
words, to make it to the list, it's not just
yes,
about what do you call this? Winning achievements for yourself, but also being able to give back.
exactly. Because I even put out someone who is not known, but they were able to achieve so much more in the community to make a difference.
All right. So thank you very much for that. And now we're gonna move on to Glenn Sibonga. Ito, nakatuwa ang kanyang question from Glenn Sibonga. To MJ, without naming names, or if you're brave enough, you can spill it. Have you ever experienced a medyo rude or medyo pasaway na celebrity? And if so, how did you handle the situation? That's Glenn Sibonga of BistadoDailyNews.net and PMPC.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to let this out because I traveled 6 hours going to Los Angeles, and I attended this Metropolitan Fashion Week in Los Angeles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping we will get an interview with this famous Hollywood celebrity, and we waited. Then all of a sudden, he was just taking a picture, and then he left. Um, that was Steve Carell. I know he's very famous. Um, so I sort of kind of perceive him very snotty, because all of these reporter. I mean, you travel, they don't know your background going in there, and then all of a sudden they snub you. So yeah,
Oh
You
my
know,
god.
it's very surprising because I'm a huge fan of Steve
I,
Carell.
me
Hindi
too.
kaya hindi kaya Patsy posible rin na there's some miscommunication breakdown somewhere. Kasi 'di ba, like if you're with the media or with the press, you don't
Yeah.
really talk directly to the artist, 'di ba? May dinadaanan ng agent, may dinadaanan niyang
Yes.
a group of people who or entourage who surround this person. And
Correct.
sometimes,
Correct.
baka minsan, di ba, the
But he
communication
was
gets
on the red
watered
carpet.
down. Sorry?
He was on the red carpet. I mean, that's the place for communication to the media. So
Right, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm just surprised that Steve
Surprising.
is oh yeah, Steve is like yeah, so
Okay, so I
like
hope, Glenn, that answers your
yeah.
question.
Yes.
Okay, so from, of course, Pilar Mateo of Hatao. MJ is part then of EBC Net 25. So can you tell us something about that, MJ? And how about a book? Yun na.
Wow.
Wow.
Plans for book.
But thank you for that wonderful question to my dearest friend, Pilar. Well, I've been very fortunate to be part of. Before I receive awards here in Hollywood, I was actually a Hollywood segment producer of Net 25, which is the Eagle News International. So
Mhm.
I talk about from that time on, I talk about already Oscars, Emmys, Tonys, Billboards, you name it.
Right.
Um, and then it kind of validated when I became a member of Los Angeles Press Club.
Mhm.
So I'm forever grateful with Net 25 and Eagle Broadcasting Corporation for giving me that platform. And also, yeah, currently still working for ABC Films. So I do a lot of PR for them. Let me just mention this because I'm very, very proud that one of our films in the Philippines represented the Golden Globe as a Philippine entry this year called Guerrero Dos Tuloy ang Laban. The
Mhm.
fight continues. So you could find that article at goldenglobes.com up to this point. So that's amazing. And in terms of the book, it should be on the way. So I'm working on that as well.
Talagang wala kang ginagawa, MJ, ano? Hindi ka busy, ano?
Yeah.
That's good, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, yun nga sa cut print, marami talaga tayong mga podcasters in the family that really, really, inspire people.
Correct. That's
So,
right.
okay, so ngayon sinisignalan na ako ni Patsy. She's giving me these secret signals na we gotta wrap up soon. Napapasarap pa lang ang kwentuhan. So I'm gonna fire this one really quickly from Leo Bucas of ABS-CBN Push.com. This is our last question for this wonderful, wonderful interview. Are you covering the 2020 Miss Universe there in the US? What do you think is the chance of our representative Rabia Mateo of winning the crown?
Ooh.
That's from Leo Bucas.
Wow.
Pinoy
You know
Paparazzi.
what? That's a very good question. Unfortunately, they did not open it to in-person media at all.
Mm,
So I'm not gonna cover, but I do sort of kind of following it. Um, with our, representative from the Philippines, she should be just enjoy herself and she should know her purpose, why she's doing it. She's not doing
Mhm.
it because for herself. She's really doing it for the country
to
and what she can
represent.
do.
Oh,
It's what she can do with that crown, with that title, because it comes with huge responsibility. So it's not all about the beauty anymore. It's about making a big difference to the lives of young women out there or communities from around the globe.
yep. So to all our pageant contestants, represent. Thank you very much. Okay, so dyan nagtatapos ang ating konting kwentuhan with the newest member of the Cutprint Podcast family, MJ Rocadio, and of course, our resident maven, our
Wow.
resident diva, Pasi Ferrer. Thank you very
Yeah.
much to all our panelists, to all our friends who threw in the questions. This is surely a reversal of roles for MJ, but soon enough he'll be throwing back the questions when his blog talk comes out. So MJ, any final words before we call it a day?
Yes, I'm just very grateful to Miss Patsy Ferrer for having me at the Cutprint Podcast Network. I'm very, very thrilled because after 7 years, I'm finally home and they
Mhm.
have to watch out for the first episode this coming April the 19th. And it's going to drop on Spotify. And of course, the segment is Blog Talk Hollywood because we're going to talk about not just the Hollywood, it's almost like a E through Hollywood story, as you could say it. To really get to know them and strip their title to really get to know the celebrities behind the scenes. So, and
Absolutely.
watch out for that. And then also, the good thing about it, it's going to be an Oscar week next week.
Oh
So,
yes.
yes,
So it's really
it's going to
worthwhile
be
tuning
exciting.
in, guys. Yep.
And if you can follow me, you can follow our social media. If you haven't yet, you can follow the Cutprint Podcast Network. You can follow me at MJ Ricardio, the blogger on my Instagram, and Blog Talk with MJ Ricardio on Facebook. And I'm very grateful to all our friends in the media, and thanks to you, Jet, as well. I'm also a huge fan of yours.
Rock and
Yes.
roll. Thank you very much, MJ. Thank you
Rock and
very
roll.
much. And stay safe wherever you are there in
Yes. Thank you,
California.
everyone.
Patsy,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you
very much, Jet.
for ushering in MJ to our little family here. And I'm very excited for his blog talk. I'm going to be one of his listeners soon enough. So to all our viewers today, I hope that you learned a thing or two about MJ Racadio, an achiever over there, our representative in the United States, kumbaga. And it's a proud Phil-American and siyempre, by heart, Pilipinong-Pilipino yan. So, abangan natin ang mga podcast na darating galing sa kanya. So, on behalf of the Cutprint Podcast family, stay safe. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thanks guys. That was fun.
That was fun,